everyone. In this video, I will be walking you through a lead generation agent I have developed using LangGraph. So this is the flow of that agent that I've developed. I'll quickly walk you through all the steps involved. So first is scrap leads, which will just scrap the leads from the system. Next is enrich leads, where it will try to add the information which is missing, for example, email ID, phone number. Next is qualify leads. Qualify lead means that it will tell whether the lead that we have extracted, does it qualify for our campaign or not. So this can be achieved using two different ways. One is using LLM, second is using rule. So the reason I'm doing it like this is one is that I'm using a single same router for each of these for the complete flow. Wherever you can see it is going in two different directions, LLM and rule, it is using exactly the same router. So this is one concept that I wanted to explain. And another help that we get from this flow is that for some reason, if we don't have the LLM available to us, we can still run this graph or this workflow in our system by entering rule for each of the node. So this will be defined by the user, whether for each step they want to do it using LLM or they just want to run it using some rules. Okay. So these are the two things for two reasons for which I've developed it like this. So qualified leads is done. Then is the generate message either using LLM or rule. So whichever leads qualify for those, a personalized message will be created, either an email or a WhatsApp message, which we can send to the user. Then the send outreach node, which will simply send that message to the user. After that, check response either using LLM or rule. Check response means it will check the response from the user for the particular campaign and check whether the user is interested or not. Here also, we can check it either using LLM or rule. Now let's go to the Python notebook and see uh, what I've developed. I will run each and every cell of this notebook and explain what each cell is doing. Okay. So at this cell, I am simply importing all the necessary libraries. From LangGraph, I'm importing state graph and I'm importing typedict. So this will be used to define the state of our graph. Then OS and load.env will be used to uh, import to get the key from the environment file. And chatgrok is the platform I'm using for LLM. So I will explain what chatgrok is in a bit. So let's run this first. Now initialize LLM. So here, if you see, I have got the grok API key from this environment file, env file. So once this is available, we can simply initialize the LLM. So after I run this, I will explain how to get the grok API key and how to use it. And the reason I'm using this is that it is free of cost. It does not charge anything for a very decent amount of tokens. So for any development purpose and testing purpose, this is a very good uh, option to use. Here I'm using Llama 3.370 billion versatile, but you can explore what all models are available in Grok and use any of those. So now let's go to grok.com and see how to get the API key. So for that, you have to just to go to grok.com, and after that, go to developers, click on free API key. Here you can see I already have a API key which I'm using in my demo. But how to create a new API key, you just simply click on here, just name it test API. Okay, and expiration you can define based on your needs. As soon as you press submit, your key will be generated and you can see the key here. Okay, so I would advise you to copy it and save it somewhere, because as soon as you press done, the key will not be no longer be available to you to copy it. So the only option, if you have lost the key, the only option available will be to regenerate it. Okay, so I'll simply delete this because this is the one I'm using, my API key. Okay, so this is the LLM that I will use for my demo. Okay, next is to define the state of our graph. So in this, these are the fields I'm defining. First is that it will tell which step it is at. So I will tell you why this I did this because when the graph runs, the last step will obviously be the one which will be captured here. But I will tell you why I have saved it and how it can be useful. Next is lead scrapped. All the leads that are scrapped by the node, it will be saved here. Then enriched leads, all the leads after enriching, like adding additional information, they will be saved here in form of a list. Then qualified leads, whichever leads get qualified by either LLM or rule will be saved here. Then the messages that are generated for each of the leads. Then a log of all the outreach that was sent to the users. Then the responses that we received from the users for to which the outreach was sent. Then mode used in each of the node. So this can be either value rule or LLM. So uh, like there are few nodes which are only rule based. There is no concept of LLM, but there are few nodes which have an option of either use LLM or rule in them. So I think these are the three nodes where we have an option to use it. And this is the mode which will be the initial state provided by the user. And the user will provide the initial state something like this. So they can tell whether qualify should be LLM or rule, generate message should be LLM or rule, or check response should be LLM or rule. Based on their input, the graph will decide whether which uh, node to use for each step. Okay, so let's run this and initialize, define our state. Now in this cell, I have defined all the functions which will be used as nodes for our graph. The first node is scrap leads. So it will simply use the state of type lead gen state which we have defined in the previous state. So here we are not using any real API to get our leads. This is just to demonstrate the LangGraph part of it. So for that reason, I have just hard coded all these leads here. But in reality, if you want to build a real lead generation agent, you can connect it to a real API that is available and get the leads in real time. Okay, so what it will do is that it will simply send all these leads to this lead script node. And if you see the step, it will say is that the current step is scrapped. Mode use is I'm sorry. So mode used here is rule. So like I said that there will be few nodes where the mode will be rule only. There is no mode called LLM in those steps. So same for enrich leads. Enrich leads also I have hard coded the step that it will simply generate a dummy email ID for each lead, and then it will simply hard code a WhatsApp number for each lead, which will be the same. And here also for the step, it will say that it is enriched. Mode used is again rule, and enriched leads is this is the list that we have created with enriched information, and we will simply send it as an output. Okay. Next is qualify leads. Now this is a dual mode option. We have two different nodes. One is using rule and second is using LLM. So for rule, we have simply created a Python-based rule that if broker word is present inside the title of the lead, then we consider it as an investor. Uh, then we qualify it. Otherwise, we don't qualify it. Okay. Let me just confirm it. Broker not in this, then it is investor. Okay, so basically what it is saying is that if it is not a broker, then it is a qualified lead. Otherwise it is not a qualified lead. Okay. No, sorry. So if broker is not in this, then it is investor. Otherwise, what is the tag? Otherwise. Otherwise there will be no tag for that. So this is just a dummy message, so you can just enhance it based on your needs, but this is just to demonstrate how a rule based node can work. Next is LLM based. Here we will use the chat llama model that we initialized in the above cell. Okay, so here this is the prompt for that. For each and every lead, this is the prompt that we define. that you are an expert lead qualifier. This is the name, this is the title of the person, this is the location. Now, the LLM has to decide whether this is an investor, broker, or we should ignore it. Okay, so these are the three categories into which each lead will be classified. Okay, so we have told it that only output in one word. So we can invoke it and then we can see the classification. Then that classification will be saved as a tag for that lead. And then the qualified leads we will send uh, uh, in this field. And then here the step is qualified and mode used is LLM. In the above one, you can see that the mode used was rule. Next is dual mode message generation. Message generation is also either rule based or LLM based. Rule based is simple that it will send the same type of message to every user by just changing the name of the user. Everything else will be the same. And the complete list will go to this personalized messages field, and the mode use will be rule and step will be messaged. The LLM based one will we will ask the LLM to generate a personalized message. We will say that write a short message for this person having this title and location. And so here if you see that what we have done is that we are ignoring all the ones where the category was defined as ignored, either by rule based or by LLM. Only for investors and brokers we are generating these messages. Okay, so this is the instructions that we have provided. Okay, and then we will simply invoke and get the message. The message will for each uh, in the messages for each lead we will define the message, and then the complete list will go to personalized messages and the mode use will be LLM. Next is the send outreach. Here also, since it is going to be a dummy uh, agent, only you explaining the LangGraph part of it. So we are not really connecting it to any API and sending real emails or WhatsApp messages. So here we will simply just create a list and send it to outreach logs. We are not really sending any real messages to anybody. Next is the response checking. Again, this is also dual mode. So either rule based or LLM. Dual mode is simple that we have already hard coded the responses, and then uh, we are just putting the response in the responses field. But in case of LLM based, we have just hard coded a few, and then each message we will give to LLM to check whether the user is interested or not. So the instructions, the prompt that we have given is that uh, for each response, tell whether the response is positive or negative, and the answer should be either yes or no. And then based on yes or no, the it will decide whether the interest is positive or negative. And then it will save all the responses in the responses field. Here the mode uses LLM. Step is response checked. Okay. Next is, yeah, so this is the router that I will be using, which will help me understand whether, help the flow understand whether to go on the rule-based side or the LLM-based side. For that, what we have done is that we have created one function where we are taking two fields as inputs, the state as well as the step. The step is that like which I will explain later, that for each step this router will be called and the complete state will be sent to it, and so it will define which mode to use for that particular state. It will get the mode, otherwise it will define to rule. So this function we are calling inside this. So here we had to create two different functions because the router node takes only one field as an input. It does not take more than one field. So we created this as a router, and inside this we have called this function which can take two fields as an input. Okay, so yeah, based on this, it will tell us whatever is the output of the router. It will tell which direction to go to. So these are all the nodes that I have be created for this particular uh, agent. Now let me run this. let's go to the graph definition. So here, these are all the nodes that we have created for our graph. This is the initialization of our workflow. Now, the nodes that we have created are scrap leads, enrich leads, qualify leads, LLM or rule, generate leads, LLM or rule, send outreach, then check response LLM or rule. And then the entry point of our graph is scrap leads, as you have already seen. And then uh, from scrap leads to enrich leads, we can simply create an edge. There is no conditional routing happening. The conditional routing is happening from enrich leads to qualify. So here, if you see that from enrich leads, we will simply call this router function, make router, and we will send qualify, whatever is the uh, value of the field qualify in the initial state. Based on that, if the output is LLM, then it will connect to qualify leads LLM node. If it is rule, then it will connect to qualify leads rule node. The same we will do for these two. Okay, so now these two nodes are created, but from these two, we have to again connect it to generate message. And generate message, there will be a cross connection happening. From LLM, from qualify leads LLM, we will connect it to both. From here also, we will connect it to both. So for that, just to save on the code side, I have created a for loop, which will create the conditional router for both of these nodes. Okay, connecting to this. Here also, if you see, I'm using the exactly same router, only the input value is changing. So this is a unique concept that I discovered during development of this. I took ChatGPT's help to understand how to make it work. So the thing is that usually we create separate routers for each step, but this one, since it is doing the same thing, so we can use the same router the way we define it. Okay. So next is for from these two nodes, we have to create an edge which will connect to this. So again, a for loop where this will also connect to this and this will also connect to this. Okay. Now, again, from send outreach, we have to create a conditional router. The input to make router is that check response. And based on that, it will decide whether to connect to this or this. Now we have to nodes which will connect to the end, which is check response LLM and check response rule. Both of these will connect to the end of the workflow. Okay, so this will compile. Once I run this and uh, try to print this, it will simply show me the workflow how it looks like. So let me run this. Yeah, if you can see here, when we write simply app, the compiled version of the workflow, it will simply print the flow that is created by the LangGraph. Okay. And if we want to save this in form of a PNG file or any image file, this is the code that we use to save it. And this is the file that it will save in. So once I run it, although I've already created it, but it will create it again. And if I open it here, here you can see that it is a saved version of the same workflow. Okay. So now let's define the initial state to run this graph. So the initial state here I will tell is that what mode I will be using. So mode will, as I have told you, that it is going to be a dictionary which will have three different fields. One is qualify, generate message, and check response. Here, the values that we can have here is either LLM or rule. So what I'm telling my graph is that for qualify and check response, use LLM, but for generate message, use rule. But you can send LLM for all three or rule for all three as well. So let's define this initial state. And now, since we have already the compiled version of our LangGraph uh, workflow, we will simply invoke it by passing this initial state to our graph. Okay. So let's run this and see what output we get. So here you can see the when we run this, we only get the final output, which is this. The output either coming from this or this. So let's check what did we return in these nodes. Yeah, so these are the nodes. Here we defined it like this. So these are the responses. So the fields that it will give as an output is step will be response checked, mode will be rule or LLM, and what are the responses. So for check responses, what input did I give? For check responses, I said LLM. So here the step is this. These are the leads grabbed. Mode uses LLM. Okay, it is giving the complete state. Yeah, so right. So if we invoke it, it gives the complete all the fields saved in the state that value is saved as a final value in the step, what values are saved in the lead scrapped, then what values are saved in outreach logs, what values are saved in responses, and then mode use. What is the mode use in the last one? Okay, and this is the initial state that we provided. So this will be a bit confusing for this one because for each step, the step name will keep changing, and the mode we use for each step will also keep changing. But this is capturing only the last occurrence, which is the responses. Okay. So here if you see the interest is positive and negative, this is decided by LLM. But the reason I kept it like this is to make it work like this in the streaming manner. So once I run it like this, you will be able to see that the mode used value will be different for each step. So here if you see all the steps are separately printed, which we can stream to our output or we can process them separately. So here you see this is the node and the step value is captured as scrapped in the first step, then it is enriched, then it is qualified. For qualified, it used LLM. For messaged, it used rule. So like you see, for generate message, I used rule, but for qualify and check response, I used LLM. So let's verify that. For this anyways used, for response checked, I used LLM, and for qualified, I used LLM. Okay. So then this is the mode used and this is the step. So this can help us understand that, okay, which if we try to stream it, then what is that step and what mode did it use? Okay, so if I try to change it to LLM for all three of them, then let's see what will happen. Okay, so if you see here, for qualified also it is using LLM, message also it is using LLM, and these are the messages that it has created. Okay, so this was a quick demo of this LangGraph agent that we have created. So we can simply connect it to real APIs and make it work. And with further tuning, we can make it work for our lead generation agent workflow. So I will provide the link to this GitHub repo. I have added this notebook as well as a requirement file in my GitHub repo. I will provide the link in my description. And please let me know if there is any concept in this notebook that you want more details on. I will make another video with more details on that concept. Uh, but and let me know what other videos you would like to see. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.